Today we're going to talk about creating the music and sound for Moonlight Blade, this beautiful kind of open world MMO from Tencent. So there's been a few different types of music we've created for Moonlight Blade. At the high level, there's been in-game music, and this is sometimes interactive music that's, played during specific fight scenes or specific to areas like different villages or lands in the game. But we've also done a lot of music for cinematics and cutscenes, and these are more scored specifically to the picture. And Matthew's done a great job of kind of telling this story arc of several different characters over the course of these expansions. And so it's been great to reuse thematic material that's introduced with one character early on in later expansions. As Matthew kind of developed the musical style, my role became more, oh wow, we've got this much music for these different things, how do we kind of wrangle this all together?
And you played violin, too.
That's true, I played
You played violin on a couple tracks. In Moonlight Blade as a whole, we always try to tap into the really traditional Chinese sound, but do it in a unique way. But to do that, we need traditional Chinese instruments. We'll often go on our trips to China and we'll collect lots of these really, really interesting instruments. I had a guzheng made for me for this game. I play that on almost everything. It's like magic when you use it. Some of the really, really old Chinese instruments ended up sounding really interesting for the islanders. Like there's a little ocarina called a chun in China, and it's an end-blown ocarina, and it's just made out of clay, and you play it, and it just had such a interesting old islandy sound. It was very cool. So for Moonlight Over the Sea, we looked at a lot of references because the game actually takes place in the Pacific Islands, like around Indonesia and that area. Yang Ji, the audio director, he sent over the reference of Bruno Callejas' score to Himalaya. And he did some really, really cool vocal work in that. And I was really inspired by that. And in a lot of these island tracks, I tried to do my own like whisper singing, kind of like Bruno Callejas did. And I thought that turned out pretty cool.
Moonlight Blade is such an interesting project because the audio director for the project really wanted to push a lot of creative sound design. And so sometimes we've done different UI sounds for the game or different character sounds. And it's always been trying to embody the existing sound of this big open world as it continues to grow and new content is made for it. So we have to always take that into consideration, but also try and do something fresh and new for the different worlds and the different characters. So from a sound standpoint, sometimes we're recording new Foley or trying to use different creative sound in new and unique ways.
In an effort to go further and to make really interesting sounds for this game, we were trying all types of metals, just for percussion and even pitched things like metallophones and things like that. And we got like nipple gongs and cool things like that. I even grabbed some parts off my car, like a spring from my suspension that I'm not using anymore, and I dangled it by a string and I would hit it with like a triangle stick, and it had a really interesting sound for some of the rhythms and the more islandy sounds.
Working with a studio in China, the process is very collaborative, but there's also the time difference. So we do a lot of different calls with them. We've also been to China several times, and their audio director is coming here as well to record and work on different things with different projects. But it's been a really great process, and one that, even though we're very far away on different parts of the world, has been pretty easy to work with collaboratively.